Oh, this is going to be a good one.
You're listening to Pete the Planner.
This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. I was going to be solo this week because co-host Damian is with his family. So instead, I thought, I don't want to be by myself. I'm insecure, and I need someone to not laugh at me, just like Damian. So I brought along Chad Meadows, our client success manager here at Your Money Line. Chad, welcome into the next man up role.
Hey there, thank you.
Just like in great pro sports, when one star is out, the next man off the bench must fill the role.
Absolutely.
And he wasn't available, so Chad, welcome to the show. Okay, so Chad has been in the banking industry for a long time, manages a lot of the relationships with our clients here at Your Money Line, a lot of our corporate clients, I shall say. So Chad, again, welcome back. You were in the banking episode. People loved it.
Thank you.
I said that to be nice. Chad, do you have a financial advisor?
I don't.
Is it because you work at a financial place? Or, well, I guess you've always worked at a financial place. Why don't you have a financial advisor?
You act like I have money.
You do have money.
I'm just kidding.
Your wife is very successful.
She's very successful.
Yeah.
You know, I had securities licenses, been in banking, now in financial wellness. Just feel like I have a fairly good idea of what I want to do. So I don't want to pay someone else to do it at this point.
Which brings us to our first question of the week. If you ever want to email us, do so. Ask Pete at PeteThePlanner.com. If you're lucky, Chad will be here. And if you're unlucky, I'll be here by myself. And if you're really lucky, Damian will host the entire show by himself. Dear Pete, I've listened to several of your podcasts and read your articles in the IBJ, which is the Indianapolis Business Journal. Recently, you had an amazing... Oh, wait, he didn't write amazing. You had an article. I added an amazing. You ever do that?
Good ad, of course.
You just like add a compliment accidentally?
Most emails.
Recently, you had an amazing article posing the question, are you utilizing your financial planner to their fullest potential? I currently do not have a financial planner and wonder what is the appropriate time to seek one out, if any. I'm in my early 30s, emailer writes. Here's the thing, Chad. I think he wrote that to really get at me because he knows I'm older.
It's a dig.
When you come across someone that's like, you know, a dude, you know, in their mid-20s, and he's like, I'm in my mid-20s, and you're like, does it make you feel bad about yourself?
A little bit.
I know. You know, sometimes, yeah, I think every 10 years or so, you're just like, I remember when I was that age. Anywho, he has $200,000 in my company's 401k. This is what he's ready. Build up a small emergency fund of $8,000 and growing, and contributes $300 a month total to his 4 kids 529 plans. 4 kids, Chad.
It's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
It's double what I have.
Good math. You don't need an advisor.
Right.
My wife is the hardest working individual I know as a stay-at-home mom. I would say so with 4 kids. Every 6 months or so, we take time to evaluate our financial status and short and long-term goals moving forward. From an investment perspective, I am maximizing my 401k and HSA contributions, but do not have any say as to how it is dispersed among stocks, bonds, etc. We have no separate IRAs or anything we have to manage. Ultimately, we want to increase the 529 contributions and emergency fund as our income and expenses allow. Overall, though, we feel in pretty good shape, which leaves us to beg the question, is a financial planner really worth pursuing in our situation? Chad, I'm putting it to you. This emailer has entrusted his entire life to you in this moment.
It's a big deal.
What do you think?
I think yes and no. I don't think...
Oh, you're gonna do well in radio.
Can't pin it on me. You know, I think that maybe it sounds like you're doing a lot of really good things right now, naturally, whether that's advice from someone else that he's been given or just on his own. So if I was to do anything, it might be maybe a one-time meeting or maybe even an annual meeting with like a fee-based advisor, just to kind of get an idea around college planning and things like that. But I certainly wouldn't pay, you know, the high percentage cost of managing money at maybe a bank or something like that based on their current situation.
Yeah, so, okay, interesting. So I like a lot of what you said. I don't actually disagree with any of it, which is, you know, progress for us.
That's good.
You said to get a fee-based advisor, you're right. Let me dig a little bit deeper. Emailer, if you were to seek out a professional's advice, I would go to an hourly based advisor, pay him for their time for an hour to look over this. I'll tell you what, though, I don't think you need one. I don't think you need one at all. In fact, the only thing that concerns me that you didn't mention at all, and it bothers me you didn't mention it, is life insurance. Like the only thing that rounds out, you like the use of how I said round there? Round. The only way you round out this financial plan is to have continuation involved with it. Like, Chad, you look at this guy's situation, as long as he keeps making money and keeps doing what he's doing, he's fine, right?
Right.
What happens if he has a wife and 4 kids and he is dead?
Not good.
Plan's not great.
No.
So that is the one weakness, if it exists, or maybe he didn't bring it up for a particular reason. But if this guy was sort of the perfect person to not have a financial advisor, he would have brought up his life insurance situation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, which we should also, like, how much life insurance would a guy like this need? Did he say how much he made? I know I didn't even give you the email. He's in his early 30s, has 200,000 by 401. Let's assume he makes $100,000 a year. Do you want to assume that?
It's a good assumption, I think.
All right. He would need at least $1 million, probably $1.5 million, because he's got 4 kids.
Sounds right.
Yeah. 1.25, somewhere in there. Younger 30s. I would probably get a 20-year term policy and just make it part of your budget, which of course then decreases the amount you can put in your emergency fund. But I bet it would cost that dude maybe $100 a month. You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Certainly reasonable for the benefit.
Yeah, if he's healthy. I mean, he's out there doing juice cleanses and stuff, you know? Yeah, so I don't think everyone needs a financial advisor. I really don't. I think a financial advisor serves a couple roles. One, to give you a degree of accountability. Who provides the accountability? Do you and your wife provide financial accountability to each other or not? Or how do you guys do that?
My wife, definitely. We talk at least on a monthly basis about what's going on with our money, where we're at, what our goals are. And then I've got a couple close friends that are kind of in current similar financial situations that I am and have similar goals. So we kind of bounce ideas off each other and kind of hold each other accountable.
You know, that's really a really good benefit, right? To have a group of friends that have similar financial situations. And frankly, you just hope the conversations don't turn to consumption, right? I mean, you are usually having the conversations when you're consuming, right? Beer. But you hope they don't say, well, then we're going to go on this vacation. Then we're going to buy this car.
Right.
Then we're going to get this. You hope it is really, what are you guys planning on doing for college for the kids? You know,
Right.
those sorts of things, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Not everyone needs a financial advisor. If you have a degree of accountability, if you are maxing out your 401k, if you're putting money in your 529, if you have no consumer debt, if you've got a decent emergency fund, you don't need a financial advisor. I mean, now there's another element to this. You could arguably need an investment advisor, maybe.
True.
And I don't mean to split hairs here, but there is a difference between a financial planner and an investment advisor. Here's the thing, though. If it's all in your 401k, you'd be paying outside fees to an investment advisor to manage your 401k, which, you know, some people do that. I wouldn't do it personally.
Right. At that point, I've come across a lot of our partners in that field that are really great in the retirement plan. Company itself has a lot of great advisors that can talk about the 401k itself, but yeah, I wouldn't seek an outside advisor for that.
So there's your definitive answer. You, sir, specifically don't need a financial advisor. And by the way, we are very, very, very pro financial advisor around here. We want almost everyone to have a financial advisor, but Mr. Emailer, you are the exception to the rule. Chad, coming up after the break, I mean, it's all email edition this week. Answering emails, Chad Meadows, Client Success Manager here at Your Moneyline, sitting in for Damian Dunn, who's on vacation, just lounging around, doing nothing. So Chad's filling in, next man up around here. We'll be back with your questions and our answers right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. Back on the Pete the Planner Show. I almost forgot the name of the show. Chad Meadows is filling in for Damian Dunn this week, as Damian Does a little R&R.
Good for him.
Sure. Dear Pete, hello. I've read your advice column in USA Today and found it helpful. All right, next email. No, I'm just kidding. She goes on to ask a question. I would like to purchase a house here in a small town that is a great school district. Currently, I'm paying $825 American dollars a month in rent. I have an excellent rental payment history, which apparently means nothing. Our last house was $1,000 a month. Rent is always paid on time, every month. When I first started looking, I had no credit cards and was advised to open a few accounts and pay them on time to up my score. I now have 3 credit cards and pay over the minimum amount due every month. Now I'm being told my score is too low. It's around 600. Admittedly, not good, but I was late on some car payments years ago. The car is now paid off. What's the problem here? I have nothing in collections. I'm on disability, so my income is limited, yet steady. And I can prove I can afford at least $825 a month. Houses I'm interested in are in the $66,000 to $80,000 range. My husband can easily remodel, so we're not afraid of some work needed. And that's a real husband. You know what I mean? Can you do anything
man.
around the house? What's
Takes
the
me about
biggest house project you've ever completed?
Ooh, new gutters.
What?
That was a good one.
You're a man.
I used a saw.
Did you
and
fall
a
off a
drill.
ladder or anything?
No.
You used a drill?
Yeah. A drill. A saw.
Wait, you installed all the
was
gutters on your
dangerous.
house?
My old house. They fell off.
Oh, wait, you didn't
The old
bring
ones fell off. I put new ones on.
Oh, okay, but the new ones, did they fall off?
No. Solid.
Have you driven by it recently?
No, I'm not. Don't want to do that.
Do you think they've fallen off?
Maybe. They
you-
worked while I was there.
Was this in YouTube days? Like, were you able to YouTube how to do this?
YouTube, Grandpa. He's a man's man.
Your grandpa has a YouTube channel?
No. He gave me a little advice.
Oh. Anyway, so he's not. So we're pretty sure we can make a profit when we sell because her husband can do the work. Houses are sold within a week of being listed here. They go fast. Why are the mortgage companies fixated on my credit cards, which are paid on time, and not interested in my rental history? I don't get it. My number one priority is paying for the roof over our heads on time, and I'm mindful of property taxes. Help, please. What can I do here to find a lender who actually realizes I can pay a certain amount every month on time, though I have open credit card accounts and a low score? Thank you, MJ. I think it's Michael Jordan.
Could be.
What are the chances that Michael Jordan just wrote into our show? I just dropped a bottle of water. Sounded like the world ended. Did you hear that?
It was a loud blast.
First of all, before we answer the question, do you think it's Michael Jordan?
It might be.
Okay. What's your take on this? You were in the banking industry for a long time. You lived in the world of credit scores and mortgages and all of this. What do you think?
First of all, here's what I hate. I hate
That's a strong
that
word.
people give people advice to take out credit cards to build credit and give them the idea that they have to leave a balance on it and pay interest.
That drives me crazy.
People all the time, I have to pay interest to build credit. No, just make your payments on time.
You know
pay
what?
it off.
Let's turn that into a direct piece of advice. You do not have to carry a balance and pay interest in order to build credit. It is the process of using credit and then paying back the credit on time, regardless of what your balance is, that builds credit.
Right.
Yeah, that's terrible advice to do it the opposite way. And usually it is a lender that gives that advice.
Yeah.
Actually, if we're being fair, it's usually a low-level employee at a lender who gives that advice because they either don't understand it, they were trained wrong, or they were trained maliciously, which I really doubt is the case. What do you think it is?
I don't think so. I think it's just lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
They've heard it somewhere. They assume that there has to be interest to get credit.
My other beef with the advice that revolves around that is to take out a few cards. Multiple cards of the same type of credit line are not going to help you.
Right.
You know, like 3 store cards. No, I mean, diversity of credit is a thing. I mean, I remember I got a letter from my banks and I didn't have diverse enough credit, which I don't really care. I don't want diverse credit, but they said I didn't have diverse enough credit to be in the 800s. Which, again, I still don't care because I don't really care to be in the 800s because I don't plan on borrowing money. But that's weird advice, too. Now, I do have to say there are ways to get your credit score to go up in a healthy way. There's a way to get your credit scores to go up in an unhealthy way. I'm actually going to give that advice right now, but you have to promise, MJ, that you will not do it.
That's fair.
Do you think I should give this advice of how to make your credit score go up in an unhealthy way or not?
Let's hear it.
I mean, I feel like it's true, but I have to explain why not, what it is and why not to do it. Okay. So there is something called credit utilization ratio. And Chad, if you have, let's say you have a store credit card, you do personally, with $1,000 limit at Victoria's Secret. I just had to pick a store.
It's
okay,
true.
so that's the one I picked. Okay, it's a Victoria's Secret, Chad. That's the card you have. They have your sizes and everything. $1,000 credit limit, and let's say they have a sale, and you love you have some cute things there that look good on you, and your balance is now $504. So your credit utilization ratio, you are utilizing over 50%, 50.4% of the available credit.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yes.
understand that, correct?
Correct.
If you are above 35% credit utilization ratio, there is an impact on your credit score. If you're above 50% of credit utilization, there's a big impact on your credit score.
Right.
So there are two ways, one healthy, one unhealthy, to get your credit score to go up when credit utilization is the issue, when your credit utilization ratio is the issue. The healthy way to do it, which is what I want you to do, MJ, if credit utilization ratio is an issue for you, is I want you to pay down your balance below 35%. So if, like Chad, you've got a gift card and you're a longtime member at Victoria's Secret and you have a $1,000 limit, he needs to get his balance for his mangerie below $349, right? Can you do that, Chad?
I'll try.
You're going to have to say no to some of these sale items.
It's the annual sale that gets me.
I know. Every time you come in looking great, though. Or the bad way to do this is that you call Victoria's Secret and you thank them for all their help of what they've done for you in your relationship. And then you ask them to increase your credit line to $2,000. And then your credit utilization ratio falls because there's more available credit and you have the exact same amount of credit in use. And in that scenario, your credit utilization ratio would fall to 25%.
That was easy.
It was easy. And it's one phone call and it takes 5 minutes. And this is what I hate about it. You are in a worse financial position, theoretically, because you could go out and continue to accumulate tasteful onesies and rompers, right? You totally could.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could do it the right way and pay off the pieces that you and your family are already enjoying.
Yes.
How much further am I going to go with that?
I don't know.
Your face, you look mortified. Welcome back to the show. So that's one of the things that drives me nuts about credit. They want you to do dumb things to show that you can handle dumb things.
Right.
Look, I know, and we deal with credit all the time around here at Your Moneyline. I know credit's important. It allows you to get better rates on car and homeowners insurance. It allows you to get the best rates when you do borrow or money or lease a car or something like that. But to manipulate your score to make it go up and to put yourself in a bad position in the process, Chet, that just doesn't make sense.
No. Unfortunately, I see a lot of lenders out there that just give you those kind of crazy ideas to make it a quick fix so they can get the loan to go through.
So here's our advice, MJ. If you want to try to overcome your 600-point credit score, make sure you pay your bills on time, all of them. That car loan issue is going to have to get further in your past. More time will have to pass before that is less of an issue. And make sure your credit utilization ratios are in check. Stop opening new credit lines. That will actually make it worse. And try to work with a small town bank that can do what's called manual underwriting of your loan as opposed to commercial underwriting at a higher level. So let's take a break. Coming up after the break, more of your money questions. I'm Pete the Planner. Back on the Pete the Planner show. Back on the Chad, the fill-in-the-seat chair. Hi, Chad.
Hey.
Chad Meadows, client success manager here at Your Moneyline. Filling in for Damian Dunn as Damian travels the globe. Actually just drives south and drives back north again, like every great American family. Dear Pete, oh, look at this one. Hello, Dunn brothers / cousins. Love the show.
No relation.
Damian and I have no relation, and Chad and I, the only relation we have is we both love to fish.
Love it.
You got a lot of good things going for you, buddy. Love the show, this man says. I'm 33-year-old, married, father of 2. Did you write this email?
It might be me.
Are you 33?
32.
So maybe your future self wrote this email. Maybe we have the great fortune of earning between $275,000 and $300,000 a year.
That's a good fortune.
Yeah. So maybe you didn't write this email.
Not me.
Yeah. We live a frugal lifestyle and focus on the long term by maxing out 401ks, utilizing backdoor Roth IRAs, and funding 529. You know what a backdoor Roth IRA is?
I don't.
It's where you have a traditional IRA and then you convert it over to a Roth IRA because otherwise you couldn't contribute to a Roth IRA. In addition to our emergency fund with 3 months expenses, we have a 5-year plan to buy a second home in cash. Needless to say, a large share of our net worth is tied up in the stock market. The emergency fund is in a money market. The second home fund is in 25% equities, 75% bonds due to the shorter time horizon. We tracking so far? You good? Okay. Everything else in equity is in equity ETFs, exchange-traded funds in the U.S. market, international, etc. We're very exposed to the swings of the market, which I'm generally fine with due to our extremely long time horizon. However, lately I've been questioning my own investment philosophy due to the dire global outlook from global warming.
Interesting.
I know, I thought so too. The forecasted economic impacts are in the trillions of dollars and could potentially pose an existential threat during my lifetime and certainly during my children's lives. I wonder if having a savings rate of almost 40% now is a waste. Everyone talks about having long-term investment horizons, which makes a lot of sense conceptually, but no one in the investment community seems to be factoring this threat to their plans for 30 to 40 years from now. What are your thoughts? Has anyone in the investment community attempted to discount future market returns for the threat that global warming poses? Thank you. This guy's on the East Coast.
I can't say that I've ever considered that.
You know what? I can't either. That's fascinating. Let's walk through it. I read an article the other day that I think it posed the question, like, could civilization end in like 2040 or something like that? Have you seen these pieces? They're based on like a very recent study on the impact of global warming and all that, climate change. And let's not make this topic about climate change itself, right?
Yep.
Because I don't want to turn into those things like, do you believe in climate change and do you not? My personal opinion is to believe in fact-based science.
Right.
So that is to say, I think this is a legitimate concern. Do I think it's a concern enough that we need to adjust our investment portfolios over the next 20 to 30 years to account for the fact that our planet is dead? Like, I don't know. What do you think?
I tend to lean towards no.
Let's take it from a different angle. Right. Let's take it from a different angle. Let's say we have a horrible relationship with a big country, like a big, scary country, which I'm sure we do.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention. No, we do, right? Isn't the same thing? Wouldn't it be like, well, what's the point of planning if we're just going to be in nuclear fallout? Like, is it? Can we? Is that a false equivalency or whatever?
I think you're on point. I think we can plan and hope for the best.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's the way to go, though, here. It's to say, okay, what's the benefit of spending more now? Well, you get to enjoy it more. But what's the benefit if the planet doesn't die in 30 years?
Zero. I think you're going to end up in trouble. I think if you plan and hope for the best, it turns out well and better than you're expecting, and then you're set and you're okay. If you don't, then you get there and you have no money and you can't borrow to fix retirement. So
this is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think spending more money would solve any problem. And by the way, if you're making $275 to $300, you're living comfortably. Right? I mean, this guy's in an expensive city. He has a city on here. He lives in a very expensive city. But I feel still like he's able to go out to eat and drive a nice car and all the fine things in life.
Saving for a second home.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I question. So I am again. I believe climate change is a major issue. And it terrifies me to a degree. I can't say with any degree of confidence that when I read that article about the planet ending in like 2040 something, that I was like, yeah, that'll probably happen. Like, I didn't feel that way. That does not feel real to me.
Right.
But I don't know if that matters if it feels real to me to answer this guy's question. That's fascinating. Look, if this is a concern of yours and it's a financial concern of yours, do what I do. Honestly, I find that our financial sensibility in this country is still not where I'd like it to be collectively. And there are certain financially based companies that profit from our silly habits, and I invest in those companies. So if you want to feel like you have not a say or an impact, but if you want to take the knowledge you feel you have, emailer, and use it for good, find a company that is positively impacted by this negative event. Now, some people see that and they feel bad. They don't feel like that's socially responsible. But I don't know. I mean, there was this idea that when President Trump was elected back in 2016, I guess, right? Is that the math? There were certain types of industries that his detractors chose to invest in because they knew they would go up under his presidency.
Right.
I don't find that reprehensible. I find it appropriately opportunistic, right? I don't think you have to agree with something. And the point isn't whether you agree or disagree with our president. It was more of an example of you can disagree with something and still use it as an opportunity to fulfill whatever you're trying to fulfill.
Right.
Just as I do with my own investment portfolio.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, it's tough. We had a socially responsible investing segment about a year ago or so. It's a tough space, right? Like I disagree fundamentally with the tobacco industry.
Right.
And the current offshoots of that, which are vaping and all of the Juul and these sorts of things. But it is interesting that the first equity I ever owned in 6th or 7th grade was Philip Morris stock.
Right.
Because at the time when I was first getting into stocks, when I was 12, that was interesting. And now it's sort of funny, the irony of a 12-year-old owning tobacco stocks, which is now Altria. But I don't know. When you look at your investment portfolio, and I know probably a lot of it's funds, do you ever look at what's in the funds and think, I don't want to line up with those people?
I don't. It's all just funds and 401ks and outside in another firm. And mine's more about the strategy of kind of target date funds and things like that. I don't pay attention to who necessarily.
And I'm not asking you to, by the way. I'm not saying, hey, after this, you should check out what's in your folio.
Make sure there aren't tobacco in there.
Yeah, but I mean, there are types of organizations and companies that I don't like. I think I obviously own Facebook through something, not directly. Mm-hmm. I think Facebook is reprehensible almost on every level. Yet I'm sure I own them within something. Like I don't. Yeah, that's fascinating, right?
It is.
All right, so emailer, we did not help you. Chad, thanks a lot. That's a tough question. I've never been asked that. Maybe we'll revisit with Dame, see if he has any additional thoughts next week when he's back. It's interesting. Anyway, coming up after the break, biggest waste of money of the week and current events, financial current events. Did you bring those with you this week?
I did not. I'll get them during the break.
Okay, excellent. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is what you're listening to, like right here. It's my show. This week's biggest waste of money of the week here on the Pete the Planner Show is Chad Meadows joining us in studio, guest co-host.
I'm the biggest waste of money of your week. Is that
Look, I wasn't implying that. 2 items for you this week. First is called the Blue Driver OBD2 scan tool.
Oh.
With a screen in every car, there's an argument to be made that the OBD2 port should go away. Until it does, you'll need a tool to decipher your car's mysterious warning lights. The Blue Driver is a solid choice. It connects to a companion app via Bluetooth, reading and cleaning trouble codes and supplying vehicle-specific repair reports so you'll know what parts to buy or what to tell your mechanic. Sometimes on Biggest Waste of Money of the Week, Chad, if you've ever listened to the show. You ever listen to the show?
Every now and then.
Yeah, that's not awkward.
Every week.
I mention something that I think is a great use of money. It is $100, and I think it makes sense. Now, not for every household to own, but like somebody on your street, you just borrow it, right? To ask your neighbor to buy one. You know, if I ever ran for political office, I would run on one issue, and that would be that if you have a warning light come on in your car and you take it to get investigated, and they find that the sensor itself is what is faulty, that you don't have to pay to have the sensor replaced. My legislation through my political platform would be that the manufacturer of the car must replace the indicator lights when they malfunction.
That's brilliant.
Right? I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You ever have that? I ignore all my warning lights now. Every single one.
I'm bad about it.
I don't think it's a matter of being good or bad. Like some people are like, well, that's terrible. Like, no, every time I take them in, they're like, oh, it's just malfunctioning. It's $800 to replace it. I'm like, what? No, you replace it, Gary. Sometimes I get mad. I just call people Gary. Do you ever do that?
Every now and then.
Next up on the Biggest Waste of Money of the Week, the Furno Grill. Chad,
I love
you love to
grilling.
grill. You've replaced your own gutters, as we've learned on this show.
Yeah.
And you love to buy things at Victoria's Secret.
Yes.
I made that part up.
Yes.
And you love to grill. Mixing innovative, patented design with robust construction, the Furno Grill might be the last grill you ever buy. I'll be honest with you, it might be because you'll be out of money. That's
Fair.
where we're going with this. At the center, literally and figuratively, of the grill, I ran out of words. Its ingenious fire wheel, which raises and lowers the gas burners to allow for fine-tuned temperature control without moving the food up and down. Cast iron grates distribute heat evenly and flip over for cooking loose vegetables and pizzas. The optimal hood shape provides tons of interior volume for cooking larger items, and a swing-out propane tank makes swaps easy and painless. It's made in Santa Barbara, California, which I'm going to be in like 3 weeks.
Cool.
What's cool? The grill or the fact that I'll
Santa
be in
Barbara.
Santa Barbara? Oh, it's beautiful. Anyway, how much do you think it is?
$1,100.
$4,800.
Oh my goodness.
Look at this thing. By the way, if you're just listening at home, I'm showing a person a picture while you're listening on the radio. It's kind of crazy looking, right?
Futuristic looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So that is a giant waste of money of the week. This week in current events, Chad, did you happen to see the Fair Oaks farm story out of northern Indiana this week?
I did. Not a good look.
Not a good look. So, for those of you who have been asleep for 168 hours, there is a agritourism industry along I-65, about an hour south of Chicago, and it's called Fair Oaks Farms. It is a place where you can go watch a baby cow be born, which I've had the unfortunate moment in which I did do that at Fair Oaks Farm.
Congrats.
I rounded this corner into this barn with my kids, and there's like this calf is just on its way out.
Can you unsee it?
No, and it's like, I get it. I can't handle it. I'm not mature enough for that. And I wasn't making jokes or anything. I didn't want a milkshake after that.
Yeah.
And so anyway, there's this farm that's, agritourism is this idea of showing you what, the farm lifestyle is like and animals and whatever. So this animal rights group infiltrated the Fair Oaks farm and did some undercover filming of how animals were treated over a long period of time. And the video is horrific. Like it's awful. It's hard to watch. Now you also have to understand and concede the point. If you're a meat eater, sure, the animal is being abused, but then you also consume that same animal. So it's like, yes, you want the animal to be treated correctly. Absolutely. You want humane, but then there's the whole idea of like humane slaughter that people are like, well, even if you're like PETA, right? If you're PETA, you're like, well, humane slaughter isn't even a thing because slaughtering is a thing.
Right.
Right. I'm not here to argue that point. Here's what I'm here to argue. Chad, do you think they're in big financial trouble?
I think so. I think they have big partners that could pull out based on that. Like Coca-Cola is one of their partners in some way.
Is it Fairlife milk? Is that what they
think so.
produce? It's like some protein-rich milk. They sell it in the coffee shop right below our studios here.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, if they pull out of that partnership deal, which I don't know if that's something that's on the table, that could obviously be a big thing. But more than that, I know it's popular enough they're building a hotel next to it, or have built a hotel next to it.
It just opened like a couple months ago.
So
I think they're in trouble.
People stop taking their kids there, and it's huge.
Look, I'm not a huge animal rights person. You and I have no reason to abuse animals. We both fish. It's like, so, we just have to like kind of put it out there. I will never buy anything from them again.
Right.
I stop at that gas station. I stopped there a few weeks ago on my way back from Chicago, got a milkshake or something. I will never do that again. It just doesn't feel right.
You and how many other people?
I don't know. And again,
Tons.
it's like, I'm not PETA the planner here, right? I'm just like, it just doesn't seem right. I think they're in trouble. Related to that story, there's a story out this week that Beyond Meat, which is the fake burgers, their shares surged over 27% as analysts predict more robust sales and growth ahead. Have you had one of these Impossible burgers yet?
I haven't.
Do you have any interest in them?
No.
I have interest. I want to try one, but I don't know if I care, right?
Right. I just love a good burger.
I was listening to an interview the other day. Actually, I encourage people to listen to it. It's How I Made This. Is that what it's called? How I Built This. Have you ever heard that podcast on NPR?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? That's what it's
Like
called.
that.
It's called How I Built This with Guy Raz, the founder of Tofurkey, the Seth Tibbett episode. He founded Tofurkey. He was saying that sort of the methane and the carbon release from dairy farms in commercial farming and livestock has a bigger impact on the environment than car emissions.
Really?
I just never even consider that. You think about places that have major pollution issues, smog issues. Basically, what is being argued is that major rural communities that have commercial livestock and farming have just as bad environments based on the gas and carbon that's emitted from those farms.
I was listening to the Indy 500 pre-race radio show. They had the dairy farm on that provides the milk for the winter. They were talking about.
I saw that.
They bought this brand new huge machine that they put the cows. You know what I'm saying?
You can say udders on the radio.
No, when the cow excrement.
Oh,
Basically, they put all that in this giant turbine that spins somehow and creates energy for not only the farm but enough to sell back to the grid.
Yeah,
and take some of that carbon.
This wasn't
issue
Fair
away.
Oaks. This was not Fair Oaks.
This was not Fair Oaks, but it was a good Indiana dairy farm.
I remember seeing that on the broadcast. That was really interesting. Yeah, I mean, farmers, they've got to be innovative with how they use energy and deal with waste and their carbon footprint. And anyway, I'll probably try one of those Impossible burgers. Maybe you and I could go together and we'll film you reacting to doing that.
I'll try it.
We'll do that. Chad, thanks for sitting in this week.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's better than me talking to myself, and everyone enjoys, other people than me. That's all we have time for this week. Reminding you, sending you good vibes because good vibes are all that's in the budget. This is the Pete the Planner Show, and I'm Pete the Planner.